Okay, it's working.
Yay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to On the Noise with your host, me, DJ Patty G. I am once again not in Murfreesboro, Tennessee right now. I'm not in the studio at WMTS. I am at my sister's house currently. And I am home for spring break, and so I wanted to interview a couple people. I did an interview last night with my good friend Vanessa St. Clair, so I will be having that posted on this channel. And currently I'm with my good friend I've known for a very long time, Carly Decock. How are you doing, Carly?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to see you.
I know, me too. Carly is... there's sometimes people that I know are talented, and then I really don't think about it, and then they'll post something or I'll see something from them, and I'm like, man, I forgot how talented this person was.
Stop.
And Carly is one of those people, every time she posts something, I just, like, completely fangirl, and I get so excited because her voice and everything about her is so amazing. And I feel like I really honestly didn't appreciate it as much in high school, and I wish I would. So
I mean, a lot of stuff happened in high school that we didn't need to appreciate. So.
But, like, really, I look back and I'm like, man, like, I used to... I don't know if I probably have told you this, I'm sure. But, so we did a production of White Christmas. We went to high school together.
For our spring musical.
White Christmas, yes. And she played the lead, and she did the song Love You Didn't Do Right By Me, which is actually in the movie. And I remember just standing backstage every single time that she performed with our friend Cara Ravazio, and just, like, we would just, like, be melting in the back, just being like, she is so talented. It's amazing.
Covering my face with my hair.
So, enough giving you all the glory. No, I'm kidding. So I just want to go right into this and start from the beginning. Music has always, like, it's been a part of your whole life pretty much, right? So what really started that? Were you, did you have an interest in, like, performing music, whatever, initially, or was it like your parents put you in piano lessons or something and then you grew to like it?
Well, my mom sometimes says, like, Carly's been singing since the womb, like she came out screaming. And but basically, I actually was talking about this with my dad earlier, and he's like, yeah, you knew every word to The Sound of Music when you were 1 or 2.
Wow.
And I was like, when I started speaking, I started singing The Sound of Music, like, just at the dinner table and wherever I was, and I would just dance around our little carpet that had a moon on it with my brother, just, like, squealing, and I don't know. It was just Sound of Music, and, like, road trips with my family would be, when we used CDs at the time, it was Phantom, it was Les Mis, and Cats, like, and Starlight Express, Andrew Lloyd Webber, like, all of that. And so, like, I grew up knowing, like, every word to it, and my brother would sing with me, and he can sing too, he just doesn't let anyone know. Hello, Mitchell, I'm just saying, sing more. But yeah, I mean, I was just, like, repeating what I heard, and then my papa was like, okay, let's get her in voice lessons, and then piano lessons, and that was, like, kindergarten and first grade and second grade, and that's when it started to unfold.
You said your brother can sing, but are any of the rest of your family either direct or
extended
family? That's the word for it. Are any of the rest of them, like, have any of them performed, or are they, like, musically involved now?
Well, I mean, my papa would be really mad if I didn't mention him, but of course, my biggest fan, Papa Joe, he sings to me, and he wants everyone to hear him. I love you, Papa.
It's an audience. It's an audience.
Yes, for sure. But my dad can sing, and his mom, my Nana, she passed away early in my life, but she was the one that my family was like, oh, your Nana could sing, and now you can, and my dad can carry a tune. My mom... I love you. And yes, Mitchell has a secret talent that he won't share, but it's fine.
Gotcha. But none of them are, like, performers at all?
No, not really. It's just me.
So, you are a music education major at Baldwin Wallace. And first of all, how's that going? How's college?
Ooh, it's a lot. I love it.
I mean, I would imagine so. Music ed.
I love being there, and I love the people around me, and it's very different from coming from, like, a high school where everyone has different interests and going off and doing different things, and then you get shoved into a school where everyone is like, oh my god, yes, I love this musician too, and I'm like, oh, they're so underrated, no one liked them at home, and that kind of thing, when we all come together and like we literally joke about music theory. Like, it's so bad. Like, I come home and I'm like, haha, like, German, I'm back to 6 chords, am I right? And then no one knows what I'm talking about. And then that's what Patrick is like, nah. But it's just funny to be in that environment.
Yeah, so I will get into music education a little bit later, more in the second half, I suppose. But first, I kind of want to start with, I guess, your performance past. So first of all, you have been in a lot of shows, productions, everything. What do you think you'll always be? You still perform in some things in college now, correct?
Yeah, some. Yeah.
And so do you think you'll always be performing even when you're a teacher?
Well, yes. When the opportunities arise, I'm sure. Most of my performing motivation comes from the opportunity to collaborate, because that's like the most fun part of it. Because like if I'm just up there by myself, I'm like, you want to join? Anyone want to join? It's more fun to do it with other people, because that's the best part of music, and in my opinion. And so there's that. And then in the rest of my life, I told my dad, I was like, I'm going to perform every day as a teacher. Like, I have to rehearse my lessons, and I have to sing for my students and that kind of thing. So, like, in a way, I'll be performing for the rest of my life, but just not in a way where I'm going to get all the gratitude. Mostly, I'll probably get a lot of pushback from the kids who are troublesome. But it's the best part.
Are there any, like, favorite shows that you've done that you can think of?
Oh, for sure. Like, well, I mean, you worked with me at Little Lake, so Little Lake Theater, our community theater that's near us at our home. I grew up there, and doing shows at the high school and all that stuff. I think my favorite show, off the top of my head, was Peter and the Starcatcher.
Okay, yeah, that was an amazing show. Amazing show.
Patrick. That was. I mean, it was lovely to get to do that, and the message is really great. It's the prequel to Peter Pan, so it's supposed to be an all male cast except for my character. There's another female character, but I think like regionally it was played by a man, just to like.
Oh, okay.
But in our version, Pat played, or not like Pam played it.
Yes,
excuse
Pam.
me, I just stuttered. And so. It was just a good message to show, like, it's a strong female lead, and she can kind of do anything, that sort of thing. And it was fun. I got to play in it with one of my best friends, James Curry, who played Boy/Peter. So that was great. All Shook Up was my favorite high school show that we did.
Yes.
Mostly because it's the most inclusive. Like, it had the most opportunities for kids to be leads in the show, and had the biggest cast, and like...
ensemble was really involved. I love being the ensemble in that.
I loved the choice for that year, especially just because, yes, the ensemble was on the stage the entire time. Elvis music, so fun for everyone.
Yes, I was actually talking about that musical last night on the same interview, and it's just... I still listen to it all the time.
I did too. I was feeling nostalgic, and my roommate's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "This is my freshman year musical."
I'm pretty sure I was listening to it this morning. Actually,
amazing. It's just like we still know the ensemble parts, and we sing the harmonies.
Yeah,
so good.
It's great.
But yeah, it's just a jam in time. There's that. There was a play. It's not a musical, but it's a true story called Letters to Sala. A Holocaust survivor, Sala Garnsage. She survived 7 different labor camps over the course of 5 years, and managed to save 352 letters, photographs, and documents throughout her time. And that act is something that could get her killed on the spot if she were caught. And so that's just really cool to me. But Little Lake did this show, I think it was my junior year, at the theater, and I played like 3 small parts. I was Frimka, Elfrida, and Gucha, I think, and Elfrida was like my main character. We had the opportunity to go on tour to schools in the tri-state area. We went to, obviously, Pennsylvania and Ohio and West Virginia, and we got to perform at Duquesne and Carnegie Mellon as well.
Oh, wow.
And for the tour, I played young Sala instead of the 3 other characters, so that just had a huge impact on me. And it was just great to go around and tell that story, especially because we need to hear it at this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really special as well.
Are there any, so you mentioned favorite shows, but are there any, like, favorite specific moments that just made you really happy? This could be for performing or just in your major in general, that just made you happy to choose music to be such a big part of your life?
Mostly just any time where there's a collective feeling of pride in a group, because that's really what the arts, I think, provide in all aspects, whether it's theater, music, and dance, and anything like that. It's like a team effort.
Yeah.
It's not all just about one person, because there's so many pieces of the puzzle. So I don't really know if I have any specific moments off the top of my head, other than like every cast party or like any just opening night notes that I've received from my castmates or directors or anything like that. It's just nice to do it with other people instead of just by yourself.
So obviously live performances are live, so anything can happen. Can you think of any of the many shows that you've been in? Can you recall any like crazy moments, good or bad, that are worth mentioning? Yes.
Actually, I think I almost slipped into talking about this when I was introducing Elfrida when I was in Letters to Sala. Her character, just her personality is very eccentric and very talkative and hyper. And Jenna Oberg, my director, I love that woman. She was like, yeah, I kind of cast you for a reason in this role, just because she talks so much and is literally crazy. And I'm like, thank you, Jenna. Typecasting, I appreciate it. But there was this one performance at Little Lake. It's a theater in the round, you know this, but people listening who might not. So you're very close to the audience, so you can literally hear what they're whispering to the person next to them sometimes. And so I was walking off stage after my scene, and this woman in the front row, like, I speak very quickly in the show, so I was walking on stage, and she just goes, "What is she on?" And I was like, I think I did it right then. Like, that's like how she was supposed to, I don't know. She just says the same thing over and over again, very redundant, like, and very quickly said. So I was like, yes, cool, that's awesome. But yeah, other than, you know, mishaps with costumes that I could go into, like, that's probably my favorite moment of like an audience's reaction that I heard in the moment. It's funny.
So I was at Little Lake for about I was there for one season, and we all, as an apprentice, part of your requirement is to do stage crew for one show. So I did it for, I think it was, the second show. It was called Enchanted April. During one of the shows, this lady...
The hat?
Yes, the hat.
Oh, I know the story. Okay.
One of the actresses comes backstage, and she goes, "Someone has my hat in the audience." And so during intermission, the director, Jenna, she goes up to her and she goes, "Excuse me, you know that hat, like, has to stay backstage, right?" And she goes, "Oh, I didn't know I was wearing it," or something like that. Like, this woman was not okay.
Off the rocker, like
it was, but I was just like, that's such a weird story. I also thought of
only a community theater, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, easy access to the backstage area. Like, it's right in the main hallway. You can just go right to the green room, go to the costumes. Oh, I like this hat. It looks pretty. I'll wear it in the audience. See if anyone notices.
And another moment that I thought of for you, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you, because I just can't think of it. I blanked.
Shantae.
No! Oh, that's sixth grade?
Yeah, sixth grade.
There we go.
We did the Jungle Book, and you played...
Shanty. I mean, that's how we said it. And
our principal, she's supposed to, so it's a little girl, I don't know, some little girl who comes up at the end. I haven't seen the movie in so long, so I can't remember if she was in the movie or not. But she comes up to Mowgli and
she's like, "Come to the village with me. Like, I'll help you be a real person, and not like in the jungle." Yeah. So I'm like, "Come with me," because I guess my character, my sixth grade character, my starring role, was just stalking Mowgli, and at the time I was like, "This is normal," but it's Disney. Literally anything can happen. And then our principal was put in charge of being like my parent offstage voice, and so from the back of the theater we just hear, "Shantae, how are you?" And the line was like, Shanty, where are you?" Like, or Shanty, maybe it's Shanty, I don't know, but it was not Shantae.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually, for half of the show, you're not supposed to know who that character is because I'm hiding behind a tree, so I'm written in as Coconut Tree. And it's funny because the next year in Wizard of Oz, I was tree number 2.
Yeah.
Also an amazing time in my life.
I mean, those are really your important roles. The rest of them don't really matter.
Nature. I'm one with nature.
Exactly.
And cardboard.
Exactly.
Actually, that costume was really cool. The moms did really well.
Yeah, it was. So next, I kind of want to move on to your album.
Oh, yes.
So you have an album. It's called 18, right? Very Adele of you.
Oh, yes. Well, I also couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I was listening this morning. I texted her. I was like, I just forget how talented you are.
Oh, no, I love that message. And then I was like reading.
What made you want to make an album?
Well, I guess I didn't really want to, to be quite honest. It was mostly my papa, like I talked about earlier, my number one fan. He's just been pushing me to like do some recordings with my piano teacher, Scott Anderson, one of my biggest inspirations. I miss him. Where is he? He has a recording studio. Scott is a really versatile musician in this area, and he like goes around and has gigs at a lot of places. Look out for Hewlett and Anderson. They're really good. But he has a recording studio where I take lessons, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I've helped him out with a couple demos because he was co-writing a musical that was workshopped at Point Park, and they brought it to New York. It was just like, it was a cool thing. So I'd worked with him on recording demos like that before, and so my papa was like, okay, so let's just pay for some studio time and get these recordings going. And my papa gave me a bunch of old like jazz songs that I just didn't really know. I know them now, but I didn't really do those. And then he's like, I'll pay for it anyway. And so we just kind of did as many songs as we could before I left for college, and then I like put it on SoundCloud when I was at school, like starting my freshman year. So
that being said, do you plan on making more in the future?
I mean, that's been talk because I will be home again this summer, like I'll be working at Little Lake teaching Be a Star camp and spending time with family, and then I'm going back to BW to teach a camp there. So like, but my home base will be Pittsburgh, and so I'll have to have something, to create, I'm sure. And Scott was like, yeah, I mean, if Carly wants to come back and record, he's always game, apparently. So I thank him for that.
Well, if you do, I'm looking forward to it. So what made you, you kind of touch on this, but why those specific songs? Like, were they suggestions, just something that meant something to you? Yeah, well, I mean, none of them were random. Okay. But, so what songs did I have? I don't remember. I think the first one was Cough Syrup. Okay. Cough Syrup and Pompeii. It's all covers. Like, none of these are originals by me because I haven't, done that with myself yet. Maybe it will happen, but probably not. Cough Syrup by Young the Giant and Pompeii by Bastille. Those are just two covers by me and a couple of my friends. We did that band at the end of my senior year. That was fun. And so they just all came to the studio and recorded in there, and then Scott and I mixed and edited it, so that was cool. That's why we did those, because those were our favorite of our set that we did. Borderline was like kind of a last-minute addition. It's for my mom, because she raised me on listening to Madonna a lot. She loves Madonna. She loves Melissa Etheridge. And so I was like, I can't skrelch Melissa Etheridge, so I'll like do my best with Madonna. So that's why Borderline was there. And Home is actually written for the musical that I was talking about earlier that my piano teacher was co-writing. That was the demo that I helped him create. And he's like, let's just like add instrumentation and slap it on your album. And I was like, okay. So that's convenient. So that's an original song by him. All rights reserved. The rest of the rights, we'll work on it. And Over the Rainbow was also just kind of like, I went into one of my lessons and I was like, let's just do a jazz standard. And he's like, anything but Autumn Leaves. And I was like, okay. And so Over the Rainbow was just an easy one. And we did it in like one take, I think. It was just because he soloed on the piano. He's a master. That's all. Thank you, Scott. And I hope he listens to this. It'll be fun. And then, and Burn. That was because Scott and I fangirl over Hamilton. Like,
Lin-Manuel Miranda, we will bow down to you. Like, he's a genius. Everyone knows it. And if you don't, you should change your mind about it. We love the show, and I did that for my piano recital for my senior year.
Okay.
So that's why, like, we did a live recording there, but I, like, messed up a lot. So we just re-recorded it, and it sounds much better. And then Stony End.
My favorite.
Your favorite? It's actually, I think that might be my favorite, too, just because it's linked with my grandpa. Mm-hmm. He was watching Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they were honoring Laura Nyro, who was the original artist of that song, as far as I know. And I think she passed away. I should probably do my research. I think that's why Sarah Bareilles did a cover of her song. Would recommend. Just search Stony End, Sarah Bareilles.
I will have to look that up.
You have to. Like,
I love Sarah Bareilles.
I literally stole everything that I did from that song from her cover of it. She... one of my, Sarah, we love you, Sarah B. And so she's going on tour with her new album. I'm not excited at all. Totally not excited. And so that's why I had that. And my papa called me as soon as he was watching. He's like, there's this woman that I'm seeing on TV. It's like, I was in middle school. And he's like, you have to get this music, Carly Bell. Like, listen to it. And she just has so much range and it sounds so good. Like, listen, he like holds the phone to the TV and he asks me to sing it every time that I'm with him. So I finally did that for our high school senior pops concert and choir, and that was just like a laid back version of it, and then I did it again in the spring for my senior piano recital. Mm-hmm. So it's just like it's kind of like a capstone song for me at my end of my high school music career. Yeah. So I guess it was the big finish on my album, per se.
So at school, you're obviously around a bunch of talented people. I love seeing you post things, obviously, of you singing, but I also love seeing your friends sing too, because like they're
so
also
good.
talented.
Oh, I love them all.
So can you just kind of talk about performing with these people and kind of how they've helped you with your own musical skills, whether that be from professors you've had and just your friends or anything else that you want to talk about?
I could talk about them for hours, like my people. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, you've seen me post probably Moon Day stuff, like my jazz choir that we like
so
extricate to. Oh, thank you. Well, one of my dearest friends, Bruno Bush, love you, Bruno. He started this jazz a cappella group with Becky Dovesey as well. Love you as well, Becky.
You better make sure they all listen to this.
Yes, I hope so. I'll just tell him, like, skip to this part. It's about you. So he's just like, do you want to be in this little jazz group that I'm starting? There's a bunch of a cappella groups on campus, and like our focus, we're co-ed, and we do kind of music that's like not that popular. Like, people know it and they can jam to it and that kind of thing. And so it's just like a party time. And he had this great idea to do this event called Bops and Ballads, or the first one was actually Dress Up, Stress Down. It happened during finals week. And the idea was that you came in formal attire, or as much formal attire as you can achieve as a college student. And it was just an opportunity for us to perform. And then the rest of it was just a party with a jazz trio. And that grew into a bigger event in a bigger space and more people. And it's just a nice, another collaborative way to perform. And yeah, how easy it is to just find someone that you're friends with and be like, hey, let's go to a practice room and just like jam. And that's like my favorite thing.
I love that.
Yes, it's just so easy. And then I come home for break and I'm like, Mitchell, my brother, Mitchell, sing with me. And he's like, no, Carly, go away. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. And so it doesn't work as well when I'm at home, which is something that I miss. But it's just so easy because like there are so many rooms with just like pianos in them, and you just go in them and sing with your friends, and it sounds nerdy, but it's like just
I love it.
One of my favorite things ever, just the sense of collaborative music. And I do a lot with my boyfriend, Ben Senoff. He and I jam primarily. You
guys are so good. I love seeing you guys' videos. You guys are both so talented.
Better be listening to this. But yeah, we have this Instagram channel that our friends... Oh, excuse me. A lot of our jam sessions are, like, not as productive as we would like them to be, so we try and film ourselves, do a little ditty, and then it ends up just being, like, an entire meme time. And so we get all this footage that is not productive, but still kind of funny. So we, like, edit it and post them as bloopers, and then we sometimes get a product that's worth posting as well. So follow us at halfthumbsupmusic. Yeah, that's.
So how have these people like helped you? I guess with your musical skills, if at all.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part. Well, mostly just because everyone's musical skills are just so admirable in different ways, and we're all growing and learning together, and seeing other people grow in their craft, that it's just all simultaneous, and it's a big motivator to be a better musician myself. So yeah, I mean, just like seeing everyone grow around me is just the best way to be like, oh yeah, I should get on my piano skills, which I do. I hope so. I don't. I'm sorry, Zarina, my piano teacher. I'll work on it. Yeah.
So, are you part of any other organizations than the one you mentioned?
Yes, I'm on 2 executive boards at school right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna slow down when I'm a junior. Hopefully, I'm a chronic yeser, as in like I say yes to most things that are brought to my attention. I am the treasurer of the Ohio Collegiate Music Education Association, Chapter 141. Lots of words, but it's just like, PMEA. Like So it's just OMEA, but it's our college chapter. So we have the opportunity within our major to go to conferences, and it rotates from Cincinnati to Columbus to Cleveland every year. So this year was in Cleveland, and we didn't have to travel, which was so nice. But I work on the finances for that. I like to joke how it's the least social and least creative position on the e-board, and so it's perfect for me. Just kidding. I've never had a position like this, so like it's good for me to just like get into the paperwork sort of things and figure out, like, oh, do I endorse this check? Do I just like give it to this person? I don't know. It's just a lot of big words that I'm learning in this position, and it's a good way to know what's going on with our clinicians that we bring in and stuff. And then I'm also the communications chair of the ACDA, which stands for American Choral Directors Association.
Okay.
Collegiate chapter at BW as well. So I'm in charge of social media and like sending out emails for meetings bi-weekly, and we are in charge of the annual Acapella Fest, started by Jess Samaroni and Becky Dofiu, I mentioned earlier, and Lance Hahn, who is our president right now, and all great people. And it's going to be a bigger and bigger event. We added master classes this year, and so we had a live looping artist come in and give us a tutorial on Pro Tools, which is what I used for my album, actually. So that was kind of cool to actually like know what was going on, because Scott did most of the work, I will say. So that was a cool opportunity, and like all the a cappella groups get to perform, and we have people visiting from surrounding schools like Kent and stuff like places like that. And I'm excited. This semester we're doing this event for vocal pedagogy and vocal health in conjunction with the Communication Sciences Disorders department at BW. So it's all about vocal health, vocal instruction, and so we're having our voice faculty present, and the professors from the Communication Sciences department, and some music theater professors as well. So it'll be great. It's called Unbox the Vox. I'm taking all credit for that name because I'm very proud of it. And it's just a bunch of lectures about what people want to study, basically, at my school. So it's going to be cool, hopefully.
Man, you're a busy woman.
Busy, yes. And just the 2 e-boards, and, like, there's a bunch of student organizations that are really convenient. You can just jump right in. Like, Prism is this collaborative. I'm not on, like, any leadership committee with it, but it's a student-run organization. Okay. And it has different cabarets in the fall and the spring. So like in the fall there's this thing called Misfits. I didn't take part of it. I just love watching it because it's kind of BW's version of Miscast. Do you know that sort of show? It's like Broadway stars go on and sing songs they wouldn't be cast in.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like Idina would go and sing Proud of Your Boy from Aladdin or something. Like that's not actually what's going to happen, but like it's hypothetical. Like they wouldn't play this role. And so we do that, and then in the spring we just did, actually a couple weeks ago, Heartbreakers Cabaret, which is, I just posted that on my Instagram channel.
Oh, yes.
We did a cover of Heartless by Kanye West. But we copied a lot of what Chris Allen did. He won American Idol, one of my favorite musicians. He did a cover of that on American Idol, and we took a lot of it, and that was really fun. It's just a great opportunity for people to showcase, like, things for their students, my peers, especially if you're not a performance major. Like, it's convenient for me to just, like, go up and have fun, music jam time, whatever. So, yeah.
So, good segue into that. What made you want to do music education rather than perform?
Well, I was, like, okay, so my mom, I love her so much, and she supports me in whatever I wish to do, and I think there was, like, a little bit of a confusion on my end on, like, what I actually wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something related to music, and I grew up doing music theater, like we just talked about earlier, and so I did a lot of camps. Like, I did an acting intensive over the summer before my junior year. I did an acting intensive at Pittsburgh Public Theater, and I did the dance intensive at Point Park, which was, wow, the best physical shape I've ever been in. I was very average at dancing, but, like, it was just, it whooped my butt. And then I did Arts Bridge Summer, which is this really cool program for, aspiring music theater majors to go. It's a bunch of professors from top music theater programs at college, from BW, which is one of my introductions to BW, and also Rutgers and CMU, and just a bunch of great schools. But I got an exposure to, like, that kind of lifestyle when it comes to that sort of career, and just having that work ethic that I just realized that I wasn't as motivated by that. Yeah. I can't really sell myself as easily as other people can, and it's really tough. Like, and I realized that, and so I kind of had a sour taste in my mouth after that experience, because I just, like, basically, it was just camp after camp. I call them camps, but they were really just, like, simulations of college, and I was just burnt out at the end. And I was like, okay, don't want to do that. Like, it's fun at school, but I was like, And then the next year, my dad was like, okay, we'll just try one music camp this summer. And I was like, okay, fine. And I still was sour about it. And he put me in Conservatory Summer Institute at BW. And because I was the most interested in that school. Okay. Because it was a conservatory of music and not, like, a university of the arts sort of thing. It was just, it's, like, more music focused, which is great. And so I like, went to the camp, like, I got on campus. I was like, Dad, I don't want to go. Like, this, I'm nervous. I didn't like my experiences last summer, and I don't know. I was scared. And then he was like, okay, bye. And then just, like, kind of kicked me out of the car. I forgot my wallet. Didn't have any money. But I, like, approached it. I kind of flipped a switch in my mind. This sounds, like, cheesy, but I was just like, okay, I'm just not going to waste 10 days being, like, all self-pitying and stuff. So I kind of turned on my, like, extroversion. I was like, I'm going to make as many friends as I can. And I made great connections with a bunch of people at the camp, and it really inspired me. And, like, I was like, I want to be at this school. And the great thing about the camp is that the counselors majority of them are music education majors. So I had a lot of exposure to what they get to do with students and stuff. And so I made a lot of great friends there. I met my roommate there, Julia Moriali, love you. And she is a viola primary. She's a music ed major. Okay. And so, yes. But it was just a great environment for music. It was much more my idea of collaboration and rooting for the other person, and like wanting everyone to have a good time, that sort of thing. Like, there was barely any competition, that sort of idea. So that's like, I want to do that. So the question was why I chose music ed as well? Yes. Okay, so that's, like, a big factor. And another thing was just, like, I've been kind of in front of a classroom, in a music classroom, since early days of high school, at least. Like, with our choir department, I was women's chorus president 9th grade and clarion choir president 10th grade, and, like, going on, I student director of Pantheon at senior year, student director. It was like, as Millie's just like, Millie as our choir director. Yes, I'm assuming that everyone knows who Miss Millivac is, but I, and also one of my inspirations. She gave me a lot of opportunities to exercise, like, leadership skills and music, and it was super great to have that opportunity. And I realized how comfortable I was in front of a classroom instead of an audience. Like, it was more welcoming to me, and so that's more what pushed me. That, and so those are some reasons why I love music education.
So I feel like this is the big question that I feel like you're gonna like the most.
Okay.
You already mentioned it because I sent you questions before, but obviously we all know a lot of schools, the arts can definitely be put on the back burner and even cut sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming changing that is like something you're probably passionate about.
Super.
And just talk about a little bit how the importance of teaching arts in schools and how your own personal experience have kind of shaped you as a person from those arts.
Well, I mean, I already started glowing about my experience in high school and like how many. I mean, I made connection with you, Patrick.
Yeah,
How could I ask for more?
That's all you need.
But yeah, music education is something that is needed in public schools and private schools and wherever. It shouldn't be put on the back burner, like you said in your question, just for a number of reasons. In a general sense, how present is music in everyone's lives? Oh, yeah. Like, very. For sure. You hear it all the time, unless you're, like, maybe by yourself. But a lot of times when I'm by myself, I listen to music. And I'm sure that's custom for even non-musicians. And it's in commercials. It's in movie scores. It's in, like, all the media, all of that. And it's on, obviously, the radio. Hello. And it teaches teamwork, it teaches accountability to students, and even if you don't go into music as your profession, it still wires your brain in a way that is cognitively advanced, I would say. Like, if musicians have a leg up in critical thinking. Yeah. Like, there are a bunch of studies on that. I did a whole research paper in my junior year of high school about it. Thank you, Mr. Yoakum. And it teaches discipline, practicing your instrument or the voice is something that is required to be successful at it. And, like, I was just doing field work for these middle school clarinetists, and I am not a clarinetist, but I have to take woodwind methods. We have to learn every instrument for my accreditation in the music education program at BW. Okay. And yes, I wasn't sure if I said anything about that, but and part of the experience of that is going into schools and doing field work. Okay. So when I was talking I have limited exposure to band kids, to be quite honest. I've always been a choir kid. And I said that to the kids I was working with. I was like, I'm going to be real. I just touched this instrument like 2 weeks ago. Barely know anything about it. And they're already like reading music very quickly and just counting and reading notes at the same time. They're in 8th grade. And there's some times where I think, like, there are some people in college that I know, like, are still struggling with this. It's just great if you get it as early as you can. Just because of the external skills that it gives you. And just, like, it doesn't hurt to be good at an instrument. Like, yeah, I mean, you could go to a party, see a piano, like, everyone loves Billy Joel. Like, just start playing piano, man. Like, it's a crowd pleaser for sure.
What do you hope to accomplish as a music teacher, other than, obviously, teaching music?
Oh, this is easy. It is to teach that music isn't a chore. It's not something that you should dread when you're about to be exposed to it. This was like a big priority. I have had the privilege to 9 private beginner piano students since my senior year of high school. Another opportunity given to me by Scott Anderson. And he was like, so my neighbor was saying, like, she wants her kids to start music and start piano lessons. They were pretty young at the time. I think one was in 1st grade and one wasn't in kindergarten yet. She's like, I think they might be too young, but, like, do you have any room in your studio? And Scott's like, I don't have the patience to teach that young. And my studio's booked as it is. Like, he's a very popular guy. And so she's like, okay, well, do you have any, like, high school students that might be interested in teaching them? Like, just a little bit. And he's like, yeah, right away. He's like, Carly Decock. Hello, Carly Decock calls me up. And he's like, I have a proposition for you. So my neighbor has these 2 kids and, like, teach them piano. Why not? You want to be a music ed major? And I was like, yeah, that'd be terrifyingly awesome. And then he's like, and how about my kids too? Let's slap them on there. And I was like, oh my god, I have real humans that want to learn music. And so, what was the question? Wait, I'm just gonna go.
What do you want to teach other than teach music?
Oh yeah, so his kids had started piano before I worked with them, and so I started off as kind of their piano tutor per se. Like I would work them for a half hour each week, and they would go to their piano teacher, and like I would just be like a help when they practiced. But it was mostly like working with them at the time. They kind of approached piano in an unfortunately like unmotivated way, just because it was just like, oh, I have to practice, and like that's a common thing with young piano players. So when I worked with like his neighbors' kids that that didn't have an exposure to piano yet, we kind of approached it as like a fun music time rather than, oh, you're learning piano now. And so we worked with Faber Piano Adventures. I would recommend for anyone who's wondering how to start piano. There's a bunch of options, but that's what I used. And so they used it sort of like as a sibling competition, and then and positive reinforcement was just like I threw that at them. I was like, you're doing amazing, and they were just like putting their hands on the piano. Like you don't think about how little they know. It's like, this is how you sit at a keyboard. Like you have to teach that to like a preschooler, because he's like, oh, I'm just fidgeting around on this wooden bench. And so it was just amazing to get to form their mindset of music as fun rather than you know. So in the future, to answer the question, I want to make music fun and not annoyingly like boring or just like tedious. And you can't get around music theory being tedious. Like it is. I hate music theory. Dr. Willett, thank you for being so patient with me. I am sorry that I don't know figured bass, but like it's a chore in my mind. But if you think about it in a way that like these are all the components that create what's so beautiful in our lives, then it's worth it for sure.
So, you're teaching little kids, but you want to teach high school, correct? Yes. I mean, at this point right now, I would say yes to that. Okay. Going into school, I didn't know. Okay. And I thought that was good, that I would go in with like a broader mindset of like, I could teach any age, because I love people of all ages in general. I definitely wanted to do something with voice because I know barely anything about instruments. Like, I came into college not knowing that band and an orchestra were different, and please, no one be mad, but I know the difference now, and I know what an English horn looks like, and I know what a soprano saxophone looks like. Everyone, we're fine. But at the time, I was like, but now that I've narrowed down through the music ed program and like gotten to take my methods courses, I'm really the most inspired by choral music pedagogy and high school choral music. And yes, I teach Be a Star Camp at Little Lake Theater, and that's for 1st through 3rd graders. They are adorable, love them, and I'm just not. I am so motivated by teaching high school choral music, like at this point. So that's what I'm most excited about. Gotcha. So obviously, you and I both went in choir.
Yes.
So we both know there are times when students do not want to work.
Yes.
And there are times when they don't want to participate and just want to goof off. And how do you, this is like, okay, so what I did to prepare for this interview partially, I looked up questions like stuff to ask someone who's going into music education or something. Basically, it pulled up like interview questions like for a job.
This
is literally
this is my prep.
This is not like a job interview.
I can't wait to have this published.
So how would you handle, dealing with kids, especially older kids who are just like, I don't want to work? Because I mean, you've obviously dealt with that some when you were, doing some directing in high school. High school,
yeah. Well, the thing that I found in high school, like when I was dealing with pushback, I mean, when Miss Millivac was not there and people were like, oh, she's not here, let's goof off. Yeah. And it was tougher in that circumstance because literally my peers, like I can't be like, okay, everyone listen to me like that. Yeah. And everyone would hate me if that happened. And I tried to not do that. Did I do that?
No.
Okay, thank God. We won't get into. We'll get into the tea after the mic is off. But yeah, I really tried to stay away from acting all superior. I don't know if that worked or not. Like that was never my intention, because I knew like I'm literally your equal, but I just like we'll play the notes on the piano and we'll all learn them together. So at the time in high school, it was more difficult, but I know that going into being a professional in this field, it will be easier for me to command a classroom because I will be this, like, I will literally be paid to be the superior and teach them music. So I'm not going to turn on, like, the whole, like, oh, listen to me, I'm so important sort of thing. But, like, that's my job, is to command the classroom, number one. And then number two, like, the way that I would go about students who aren't as motivated to participate is, like, the priority is to connect with the students, no matter their motivation level, to be in that classroom with you. So I would probably just make an effort to have a one-on-one conversation with them and be like, hey, I notice how you're feeling in this circumstance, and I understand that you might not be here by your own choice, or this and that, like, I don't know, external circumstances or whatever. But there are other people who do want to be here and just, I wanted to point out that their attitude reflects on a lot of other people's experiences, and just make them think that the music classroom is bigger than themselves. Number one. And then also number two, like, why waste your energy creating a negative circumstance when really you can find the positive aspects of it and be like, hey, I listen to music every day. There's something that music gives me that is, like, positive. There has to be. Like, if you absolutely hate any sound that is that has multiple pitches in it, I'm sorry. Like, that's just unheard of to me, but also I could be biased. But there just has to be some reason why music brings something good to your life. So I would try and figure out that for the individual student and kind of cater it toward their motivation level and be like, hey, you might not like this, but here's something else that we're doing that might motivate you more. Or even give them something like a leadership opportunity to exercise something else that they might want to do. Like, they might want to they might not want to perform with the choir, they might want to help orchestrate the, like, venue or wherever we might have an external thing. They might want to be in charge of field trips or something like that. So, I mean, just providing opportunities that, like, aren't just singing with everyone. It might work for them. You just have to make sure you talk to the individual student and make sure you're on the same page, because it's definitely going to be a thing where people aren't motivated to sing. But I'm not going to just sit back and be like, okay, they're not motivated, let's let everyone just be bothered by their aura, you know? I mean,
That's a great answer. You got the job. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Can't wait to make all the money ever.
But I definitely, not to get too off topic, but I definitely agree. Like, I always saw that. And there were days, obviously, for all of us where it was like, I don't want to do anything today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to practice. I hate this song. I don't want to do this song. And but I would remember getting so frustrated because I'm like, I'm putting work into this. I'm like, I want to do this. And could I put more work in? Yeah, I could have. I wasn't like I'm not trying to sit here and say I was some stellar choir student or anything. But I'm like, a lot of kids, at least in our experience, like, would leave just for the entire class or just, like, sit there and not do anything. I'm like, you could have a free period right now. Like, why are you here?
That's another reason. I might have forgotten to use this word, but often because how music programs are held in the regards to the big picture of academics, it's an elective. You don't have to be here. You could be in ceramics, or you can be in, like, 3D visual art or whatever you feel like taking for your art credit. And so if you don't want to be here, then you don't have to. And so there
no
has
one's
to be
forcing
a reason,
you to be here.
There has to be a reason why you're here, and if it's something, so for sure. And, like, there are times when the music teacher doesn't want to do it either. Like,
yes.
And so we also have to keep that in mind. But I don't think there will ever be a time where I'm going to be able to be like, okay, I hate doing this, everyone. Let's not do it today. Like, I'm getting paid to do that, and I have to. So, yeah.
So have you kind of touched on this already, but I'm going to ask just in case. Have you, like, observed, like, an actual music or choir class or whatever?
Yes.
Already? So what were your likes and dislikes?
Of observing, like, kids in schools?
Yes.
So what is so awesome about BW is that it gives you fieldwork experience like your first semester freshman year. There's a lot of opportunities through the community arts school there's early childhood music called music play, and babies come in the conservatory, and like I see so many people who are literally my age or professor's age, and it's just nice to see a child once in a while. They're so cute. And so there's that, and then there's fieldwork opportunities with our methods courses. So like I said, right now I'm in woodwind methods. I just finished my flute exam. I did extraordinarily mediocre on it. And I played simple gifts like no other. I practiced so much. Like the flute is really hard. I have a big appreciation for whoever does that instrument. And I do get to go into a middle school and work with students who are preparing for solo and ensemble competitions, something like that. So that's often great just because it helps me escape from the monotony of spending all my time with people in their early 20s and late teens, in college age. So that's awesome. And I didn't even talk about this. Like when I talked about being a CSI camper at the BW, my Lanta, words, Conservatory Summer Institute at BW, when I was like, oh, Dad, I don't want to go. And then I had the best experience of my life there. I got the opportunity to be a counselor last summer. Like after I finished my first year of college, I got to work for the same camp that inspired me to be a music educator. And so I got to do that again this summer, and it's an awesome experience. And so that's another time when I get to bond with real humans that are teenagers that maybe want to be music majors. So it's more convenient to have that little leg up of people being motivated to be there and do well. My likes is that they're real kids learning real music, and my dislikes is that I don't know. I mean, I'll have to get back on the dislikes. I don't know if I have. Sometimes it's really early. I have to wake up at the crack of dawn and carpool and coordinate with everyone. That's always a hassle. But I'm gonna have to get up early, most days of the week if I want to be a music teacher. So I can't complain about that right now.
Yeah. Side note, when I started out as an education major, I took all 8 a.m. classes. I was like, I'm going to have to get up early anyways for my major. And, I had to get up even earlier in high school. So it won't be that bad. Big mistake.
Worst decision.
If you're listening to this and you're in high school, do not take 8 a.m.s. It will not be easier.
If you have the option.
If you have the option, obviously. I've taken an 8 a.m. every semester. Partially because I'm just not smart all the time, but it's fine. So what do you want to do that makes yourself stand out as a music teacher?
Oh, makes myself stand out.
Mostly, why would they want to pick you?
Oh, this is another interview question.
Yes.
I think it goes back to my motivation to just make music fun instead of a chore. Yeah. Because that's what it should be for everyone in the world. There's nothing about music that should be a standardized test. SATs, blah, gross, and we thankfully don't have to do that. And there are definitely state standards and national standards for music education. I'm learning those right now, at least for Ohio. But just in general, we're not saving lives. We're making music, but we also are saving lives. Yeah. Sometimes music does that for people, and that's. But also, we don't need to hold it in such a regard where we're oh my God, the stakes are so high. Let's just rip our hair out about it. And no, we're just singing and playing together.
I love it because I think, at least in my experience and from other people I've talked to who have always been music, music teachers can tend to be high stress, and obviously, makes sense. They are usually doing so much more than just teaching a class or two. Yeah,
and even teaching a class or two is tough.
Oh yeah,
getting all the
kids
to
for sure. And so I don't blame them, but I think having that mindset of this is not me. I'm not just doing this just to get my money. It's something that I want to do, and it's something that is meant to be fun. So I love that mindset.
That is another thing that I hopefully will stand out, because there's a lot of unfortunate people who are oh, well, I wanted to be a performance major, but my parents were that won't make you any money, so I'm just here to have a steady job. No, that's not. That's literally, I was turned off by performance because of the environment, not by not by the pay scale. So yeah.
You already touched on this a little bit, but any other favorite parts and least favorite parts overall of being a music ed major?
Music ed major. Favorite parts overall. I think it's taking courses in my grad plan that are actually interesting to me.
Yes.
Instead of having to like drag myself to, I'll have to take math one semester. Like it's in the requirements of the university, like as a whole. And I had to take English, which, eek. But the majority of my classes take place in the conservatory building, which I'm very thankful. I don't have to walk all across campus, even though it's still a small campus. Like I need to count my blessings. But like I get to take cool classes. I took music tech, and I took solfege for a few semesters with one of my favorite professors, Dr. Naram, and I love solfege. Millie drilled that for us, so like that was great. And I get to take methods courses, group vocal techniques was my favorite class of all time so far with Professor Jordan Saul, one of my biggest inspirations and motivators why I'm at BW. She's the high school choral music professor for the music education department right now. So I adore her. She really is an inspiring woman. So that's probably my favorite part, is just getting to take classes that aren't boring to me, because that's what most of high school was. Like, I didn't like chemistry. I didn't like algebra, but we had to take them to graduate high school. And it's like asking a fish to climb a tree, basically. And then now I'm swimming in a pond at BW, so it's comforting for that. Yeah,
I definitely love, after I switched from education to media, and just, because part of the reason I left education was all these kids talking about how passionate they were, and I was like, I don't feel that way. And so I just realized it wasn't really for me. And then when I switched to media major, I was worried. I can't tell you how many times I've been told, like, where, like, you just see people's faces when you tell them you're a media major. And
good luck with that. Yep. Yeah, I get that too. For sure. And, it's usually like, oh, you want to be a music teacher? I'm like, well, I literally just said I'm a music education major, so hopefully I'll teach music at some point in my life.
So, I mean, that's definitely something that partially does discourage me, and something I was worried about, but I just take the classes and it's so much more interesting to me. I'm like, I don't have to sit here and like take history or whatever. Yeah. And I can, just things I would have never thought I would have really been interested in. Like, we watched a movie about fonts, and it was really interesting. Yeah, and not that particularly messes with my major, but it was a media class. Yeah, and honestly,
I'd love to learn about Comic Sans. Like, what makes it so meme-worthy?
And so just learning different things and being interested, and I've never had this viewpoint on school before, which, I mean, I've had classes I've enjoyed, but never to this degree of overall in my major.
Yeah, and that's what college should be for everyone.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
If you're paying that much money to do something that you dread, then why bother,
Yes.
And a lot of people that I know are having that kind of mindset change. Yeah. It's like, do I really have to be in college to do what I love? That sort of thing. So good for you. I mean, you are the person that tells you what to do.
So for sure.
There's that.
I have a couple more questions for you that are just miscellaneous, I guess. So
I'm excited. I like that word.
If you had to, I ask all my music people in interviews this question.
Air quotes are being used, everyone. Music people.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
If you had to make a mega group of 5 alive artists, what would it be?
Mega group? Like a band?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, they don't have to all, like, sound similar.
There's so many. Well, based on the music I listen to right now, I would say Sarah Bareilles.
Yes,
for sure. She would be in the mix, for sure.
Do you want me to tell you mine?
Yes, I need help. Sarah Bareilles was just like the first thing.
So Sarah Bareilles is also in mine.
Okay, good.
And then Billy Joel, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think I might have to hop onto whatever you do.
Pat Benatar.
Yes, of course. Hit me with the
Yes. And then Ariana Grande.
Of course.
You know me.
Yes, I do know you.
And then
Jason's song. That's all.
You know what? This one always changes for me.
Okay.
But I think I'm gonna go with Hayley Williams.
Oh, nice.
I love her. I mean, a lot of them very different sounds, but just all their voices are magnificent.
Dang.
So did that help you spark any?
Well, I mean, yeah. I just I don't have just 5 because I'm looking through a bunch. My taste in music is all over
the last place. Like music interview I did, she was like did 5 and then she was like, oh, but also this person. Oh, and also this person. Also this person.
Also this person. I don't know. I mean, Sarah B. And then I have like I was introduced to Hiatus Coyote by Bruno Bush, I mentioned earlier, and Micah Simmons introduced Bruno to it, which I will have to give him credit because he'll probably get mad if I didn't. Sorry, love you, Micah. So Nye Palm is a monster vocalist. I don't know what she does, but she's amazing.
I need to listen to more of their music because I like that one song that
Molasses,
you sent me.
I think I gave you.
You gave me that one, Building a Ladder.
Oh, Building a Ladder.
I love Building a Ladder.
Yeah, so good. Chris Allen has always been on my top list, mostly because his voice is so soothing, and like you don't worry for him while he sings. And he won American Idol, but no one really remembers him because he was the same year as Adam Lambert.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
There you go. But I actually got to meet him. I went to his concert.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he came to Cleveland, and I went with Ben and Bruno and Julia, my roommate. I mentioned all those people, very important people in my life. And they all went with me to support my fangirl. And he had this Christmas sweater contest, and I was right in the front, so like he saw that I was wearing a Christmas sweater, and Julia was like, go up on stage right now. And so like I didn't win the Christmas sweater contest. It wasn't like, I was just like a cute little reindeer, like subtle one. It was like some other guy wearing like a Mario Kart like sweater, which I get it. I get it. Like that was
I mean,
sweater.
but you still were on the same stage.
Yes,
so, like,
and he hugged me and he said my name, and I was just like really excited about it. So there's that. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at a bunch of these on my main playlist. I have like Empty Houses is really good, would recommend them. I love 1975 is great, and John Bellion, and Lawrence for sure.
John Bellion was on the last interview I did. It was on hers as well. So.
Yeah, he's great. And Hosier, that's how you say his name. He's going on. I just got a notification from SoundCloud. Hosier's newest album, Wasteland Baby, is SoundCloud. That's so spooky. FBI. Do you see it?
Your FBI agent
he's listening.
Right now.
Thank you for that. Hippocampus. Young the Giant. I'm hopefully going to see them again when they come to Pittsburgh. I saw them in Cleveland. They give such a good show. So yeah, there's that. Coin.
I saw Coin live on accident.
Really?
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
So I was going to the Paramore concert with my friend.
Yeah.
And they were doing this. It was called Art and Friends in Nashville. They're from Nashville, and so they had these 6 opening acts. And so I went to the last 3, and Coin was the one right before it. And I'd seen their album artwork, like I recognized it, but I had never listened to their music. But they were really good, and people were going crazy. Yeah. And the girl beside us, this is such a off track, but it's fine.
No, it's not. I just said.
This girl was sitting beside us, and she goes to Belmont, which is a music school in Nashville, and apparently they all went, and then they all dropped out and then got super successful, and then of course Belmont invites them back to be like talk like this inspiring talk about how successful they are, and they didn't graduate, and it's like you literally dropped out. So no. But I've heard other schools doing that before too, but I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. But they were really good, very good. Yeah, I do like that group, and I mean that's like all like the cool music that like in that quotes, but I'm always like a choral music nerd, like pop sort of thing. Yes, for sure. Like I mean, Paul Mueller is my favorite choral composer. He did "Now Sleeps the Crimson Petal" that we did our senior year. Okay. What a good. I love that song. I forgot about that song. So good. You should listen to the whole album. It's by Tenebrae, which, fun fact, one of the finest choral ensembles in the world. I went to the American Choral Directors Association conference, the ACDA conference, and it was in Pittsburgh last year, and Tenebrae performed, and I fell asleep during their concert. I was in the front row. I felt so bad, but because I saw I would say close to 20 groups in the course of 3 days. It was such an awesome experience, but they were singing such peaceful music, and I was just shh, I conked out, and they were like, Carly, wake up, and they could see me. I know they can. I'm sorry, Tenebrae. I doubt you're listening to this, but you're amazing, and I think you're great. That's all. Okay, so final question. You've already mentioned a bunch of people. So who are your inspirations? It seems like you could have 2 lists for you, so I'm gonna ask inspirations of people you actually know, mentors in your life, and then also inspirations of celebrities. Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I would say that the inspirations of celebrities is much shorter than the inspirations of people that I know, just because of how I view music in general. Like I said, I'm a broken record. It's all about collaboration. It's all about the people who are around me.
So I don't know, music inspirations for celebrities. I grew up listening to Madonna with my mom, of course, but I mean, I'm not sure that Madonna really inspires me to sing. Like, I just love her music and listen. And I associate it with my mom and Melissa Etheridge and what else did we listen to? A bunch of Bonnie Raitt and like we had this Boys on the Side CD, Yay Women, Yay. I just grew up listening to a lot of music with her. And so I guess that's also, my mom is an inspiration, just showing me a bunch of music. She can't sing very well, but she has good taste. So there you go, Mom. Love you. And okay, so I really do want to prioritize the inspirations in my actual life because it's, well, I talked about Scott a lot.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a big inspiration for me just because he's been so much more than just my piano teacher. Like, there have been so many lessons where I go and I'm like, yeah, I didn't practice. And he's like, okay. Like, of course. But then we always find something to talk about that's productive. And he's taught me a lot about music theory and just music culture in general and expanded my knowledge on that and gave me opportunities to literally teach his children music. He asked me to teach what he teaches me to his own children. So that was just something very special that I am always going to be grateful for, because my piano students are a big inspiration. Another inspiration, just all my piano students, for being a music teacher, because seeing it's so amazing. I might get like emotional to be so proud of a bunch of people all at once. It's like you can be proud of one person and be like overjoyed for their success, but also like having that feeling multiplied by however many people are performing what you worked on with them. Like, it's insane. Like, literally, Will, one of my younger students, one of my day one homies, he just got out there and played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I bawled. And I was like, you're doing so great. And they were so confused after the recital. They're like, Miss Carly, why are you crying? And I'm like, it's just because I'm so happy. They're like, why are you look sad? And I was like, it's nothing, don't worry about it. So my piano students are a big inspiration. And just like any music teacher that I've ever had, probably, like primarily Millie that we talked about. I grew up in high school saying, like, I want to be Millie, and except with less shoulder pain. She knows. She can't be mad at me for saying that. Like, come on. Like, it's just from conducting, which also is another reason why I'm excited to hopefully go into high school choir music, because I really love conducting. And my voice teacher from home, Hillary Klein-Renzi, a queen. She's a talented musician, and also just like storming the business world. And she has created her umbrella studio, Higher Voice Studio, and it's just been growing so much. And I just started working with her in her own living room, and now she has this studio in Carnegie, and I'm just super excited about that. Anyone at Little Lake, literally anyone, I just get so happy. My association's there. And my papa, he's like inspired me to just like be the best me that I can be. And my professors at BW, I talked about Sala, and all the music ed faculty, Dr. Marshall, and my friends that I talked about. And a lot of it, me being a music educator, I kind of recently realized this. I was having a discussion about it for some reason, but it came up that my dad is a lacrosse coach. He was a lacrosse coach. He doesn't coach anymore because he is the owner and general manager of Pittsburgh Select Lacrosse, which is a high school travel club in this area. But he started me playing lacrosse in 3rd grade on the boys team, because there wasn't a girls team yet. And then the next year he started one for the girls team. He's like, I got to get Carly on an actual lacrosse team for her. So it was just really, I didn't realize how inspiring seeing him coach was for me to become a teacher myself. Okay, yeah. And also, like, being a lacrosse coach isn't like the standard, like, grow up and be a businessman sort of thing. Like, he did that, but then he wanted to follow his dream and do the thing that he loved, which is lacrosse. And I feel like that is music is my lacrosse. And so growing up and getting to follow my dream with my parents' support and it's really convenient. So he really
shout out to Gary and Tracy.
Honestly, you're the true homies. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And Mitchell, you're doing great too. He's always supported me at every performance of mine for sure. So thanks, Mitchell.
Well, that's beautiful. Most people are just like, I love this celebrity and this celebrity. And I mean, that's probably would be me too, honestly. But, so, final question. What is next for Carly Decock?
I'm gonna go to dinner with my family tonight because I'm home for spring break. We're gonna have my birthday dinner. My birthday was a couple weeks ago, but I'm just excited to see them all. But what's next? I don't know. Finishing school, finishing this semester.
Right. Sounds good. I mean, you are like so busy and doing so much.
I took a day yesterday to do absolutely nothing. My mom's like, you need to clean out your room. And I'm like, Mom, I need to be in bed. So.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, Carly, thank you so much. This was so much fun. And I just can't wait to see more on social media and just see you succeed because you're going to be so successful. And I'm so excited to see it.
I'm going to squeal.
So thank you guys so much for listening to this interview. And just for supporting me. And you can find Carly on... Just plug all your Instagram accounts and everything.
I have Instagram. It's just all of my social media is just my first and last name.
Okay. So, and then also halfthumbsupmusic.
halfthumbsup_music. Yeah.
Okay.
Our name is like Ben and Carly Decock and Sign Up, which is like, if anyone knows what Sign Up Genius is, we didn't realize that the first and last names were grouped together like that. And that's kind of the joke with it, but I won't get into it.
Yes. Well... I'm
on SoundCloud.
looking.
They can follow me on SoundCloud.
Oh yes,
how's that?
SoundCloud.
There we go.
Yes. And I'm looking forward to more bloopers / talented singing from that page. Thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you guys again next time on Monday when my radio show is, and I will see you then. Thank you guys so much.